Hello YouTube, welcome to JEHU'S Revenge. This video is going to be on the narcissist and bullies. You see this all the time in movies, and I'm sure everybody, especially if you're on here watching this, you've been a bully, or you've been bullied, excuse me, since you were probably a child. It's like you had a freaking invisible target on your back. I remember as a survivor of this, growing up in elementary school, middle school, high school, these people run in packs. Um, they have to be like the leader of the pack. Yeah, that's how they feel about themselves. Everybody has to be fawning over them, and you know, as a kid, I remember, tell you a little, for instance, in a story. When I was in middle school, they combined all the elementary schools when you go to middle school. So there was one girl when I started middle school, sixth grade. She had the same name as me. She was in my homeroom, and we, I think she played the trumpet or something. We were both. I played the flute. She played the trumpet. This girl would follow me home from school, threaten me to the point where she would even threaten my mom. Um, it's like she would just flip out, and I wasn't really friends with this girl. I really didn't talk to her. I stayed away from her. I did everything my mommy told me to do. Nothing helped. When you're the person that they want to target, and if they perceive you as weaker than them, that's what bullies do. They thrive on, people who they perceive less than or weak. Even if you're not, they still think that you are. Um, that's why I've said in prior things. I don't necessarily know if I put it on here yet, but at one point I will. These people don't really, especially like young kids, they're being abused. So they have to take it out. They have to take that anger and frustration. Say they're being abused or bullied at home by a parent, they'll take all of that anger and lash it out and project it onto somebody else who's completely innocent. You might not have ever done anything to this kid, but they're professional bullies. But it's kind of a learned behavior. They've been bullied as a child, and they grow up to be adult bullies. They're still stuck in the trauma. So a way of making themselves feel better is they'll just go and take it out on somebody else. When you're a kid growing up, or you're dealing with this at school as a child, so be careful with your kids too. Be watching out for any signs of child not wanting to go to school, or they start to isolate themselves. They make excuses that they're sick, they don't want to go to school. Some of that could be because there's something going on that they're afraid to tell their parents about because they think it's going to make things worse, and sometimes it does. I'm not going to say like it. My mom would call this, it would make it worse on me. So I understand. Just be mindful of your children. It's like they can detect any kind of trauma that you've had as a kid and expand on it more. So it's like you never get away from it at school. It's a hard thing to go through. So have some compassion on your children. Um, Even teachers. I've saw teachers bully students. Saw them tell students they were never going to be anything. You know, if you didn't have a specific name, last name, you were labeled as, or if your family didn't have money, oh yeah, you were not treated very well probably by teachers and staff either. Some of them teachers and coaches on teams. Oh yeah, they're really good at freaking pitting kids against each other too. If you're dealing with one of these people, they'll triangulate their students. They'll triangulate their athletes. Um, well, Johnny did this better than Ricky. You should really take after Ricky. Or you should really take after Johnny, excuse me. Had that mixed up for a minute. I mean, if you haven't watched, if you ever watched Karate Kid, that's the type of shit I'm talking about. From the 80s, that movie. They also have a new, which I've actually binge watched it, the Cobra Kai series. You see this. It's almost made common even in Hollywood. That movie Mean Girls. There's another one. They'll pull people into their clique and then pit everybody against one person. You know, cyberbullying is a huge thing too. At least, we could get away from it sometimes when we came home. But then, nowadays kids can't even get away from it because they have cell phones and social media. These people cyberbully. And it all has to do with insecurity and making yourself feel better, or them making themselves feel better. A lot of times these kids grow up to be adult bullies, and that's when you deal with them in the workplace, and that's when you deal with them in families. They don't forget anything. They don't know how to forgive. They don't know how to forget. And even if you didn't do anything and you apologize for, because right away, when you just want things to be okay, they'll look at that as weak. Oh, you don't want to fight? Why don't you want to fight? Does that make sense? I hope this makes sense. Um, yeah. Tell me about your bullies down in the comment section. I've had a couple, and I was called out for kind of being a little bit rude and mean in my high school years. Well, a lot of it had to do with not taking anyone's shit no more. And, you just kind of learn to stick up for yourself, and then they refer you as a bully. Like, they can turn the tables and project so easy, just because you're defending yourself. They'll make you look bad, like you're the unhinged one. Well, I know one thing. When I got in out of school and stuff, I didn't take nobody's crap anymore. It's not like you want to bully somebody. However, if someone's bullying you and you defend yourself, yeah, they'll usually try and twist it and turn it. A lot of times, if you are in trouble, but a lot of times if you defend yourself and you give them a taste of their own medicine, many times they'll begin to leave you alone. I'm not saying get violent or anything, but sometimes you do have to fight fire with fire, and sometimes the bully needs rock themselves. Just a bottom line. Ladies on here, if you need to take self-defense classes, do so. And everybody else on here, you have a right to defend your person. You have a right to defend your own self. You have a right to defend your home. You have a right to defend your children. Don't let these narcissists. Make sure you're listening to your kids, okay? Make sure you're watching what they're doing as far as like any kind of red flags. If they're isolating themselves, it very well could be because they're dealing with some nasty stuff at school, or they're dealing with some nasty stuff online. Um, yeah. You women out here need to take self-defense classes, do so. I don't even leave my house without pepper spray. Ever. So, yeah. Like I said, sometimes a bully needs rocked. I'm condoning, not condoning violence. However, sometimes you need to defend yourself, and sometimes I will get a bully to stop. You won't have no more problems after you rock them a good shot. Um, that's what it took for me, and I didn't have no more problems after that. Of course, this was a long time ago, but hey, the issue got resolved. Sometimes you just have to defend yourself. Um, just make sure you're doing it in the right way. Make sure you're also keeping track, writing notes to yourself, keeping a journal. You know, you can at least you'll have something to take to law enforcement. Um, Nasty messages, make sure that you're putting them on a thumb drive. Threats, make sure you're keeping everything. Make sure you're cataloging everything. And you can tell your kids to do the same thing. Then, if something happens that you need to go to court, you'll have everything. Because sometimes it's going to take that. You hit them where it hurts, in the pocket. Either way, I love you guys. Y'all take care, and I hope this video helped. Yeah, put all your comments down in the comment section about your run-ins with bullies. I love you. Bye.